So there's this bald and bankrupt man running amok in the whole world, I guess you could say. And I quite enjoy his content. However, I find there to be a little bit of some problematic things that happen with, I guess, around the situation involving him, the videos, and everything like that. And I kind of want to talk about that. But first, I want to talk about how I got interested in how I found this man's channel. And it's not too unsimilar to this map that I'm playing right now. So it starts with Call of Duty 4, not the remastered version, but the original. And it probably starts in the single player mission, all gillied up. Before it starts on this multiplayer map it takes place in Pripyat. We can actually see the reactor number 4 is actually just kind of in front of me. Maybe I'll run around this corner and we'll get a better view of it. Here's the pool in the background. You know, if you know Modern Warfare Remastered, you know this map very well. If you know Call of Duty at all, you probably know this map very well. And these things that I'm pointing out to you, I guess you can only see the chimney of it in the background. But I guess these things that I'm pointing out to you are pretty like, yeah, dude, we all know this. But so my interest stemmed from this game because of the accuracy like the city of Pripyat is, and there were these glitches where you could get outside of this map or on top of buildings and you could explore more, which is kind of crazy. Like even in spectator mode, you can't explore some of the places that you could explore getting out of the map. And that's definitely the biggest reason why I miss those glitches or whatever we want to call them, exploits, strafe jumps, or anything like that. Because you could get out of the map and explore these areas that are like factually accurate to a certain extent. And so it really was like exploring a place, especially a place like you don't have access to, like Chernobyl or Pripyat. And so it was pretty amazing to be able to go and see these places. And then, of course, in the mission, all gillied up, to crawl through the town and to make your way into the hotel, the abandoned hotel, and shoot the 50 cal from the top floor, and then make your way escaping out through the chimney again of Reactor 4. So it's real cool to be able to see these attention paid to detail in these specific situations. And so I've had this fascination, I guess you could say, with the topic since playing this, and the only way that I have of exploring these places or viewing these places really is to see movies, YouTube videos, television series, whatever it is generally my only use, or generally my only way of exploring these places. And so I stumbled upon Baldy's channel by going looking through Chernobyl videos and then seeing a big rabbit hole of people visiting the exclusion zone, and then learning about the irradiated forest and the places that are still I guess you could say contaminated and still have restrictions against people living there. But there are people that do live there. Koya is an example of one of the gentlemen that he met out there. And it was really cool to see these amazing visits to these amazing places and meeting these amazing people. And with this particular gentleman, he had nothing but nice things to say about the guy, and it really shaped the way that the comments. It was interesting to kind of see how this happens. Is he did not say anything remotely negative about the guy. In fact, talked about how great he was, if anything. But you could see this guy was probably an alcoholic, just judging by his shakes and his ability to drink vodka from the bottle and double, both hands just tipping it up and drinking lots of it at once. So you can generally assume that this guy is an alcoholic old man that lives in a shack in the woods. And so I think that would have been an easy thing to not necessarily to look down upon, and it wasn't a time that happened. And in the comments, everyone was talking about how great of a person Koya was, and how he's able to have so much with so little, and that was like an interesting way to see how the comment section got shaped. But you could see there were some people in the comment section being like, I think this is an old man with a drinking problem that lives in an abandoned house. And so like it maybe isn't exactly what it looks like, but I think the thing with the video is that not with the comment section, but with the video is that you get, you know, the unfiltered truth. You get the reality with the video. You see what it was like. You get to see, you know, what's there, the evidence or whatnot. And so I love that aspect of it. But there were three problematic for me videos, and I'll make my points with them. Number one was the poorest town in Russia. He basically just explored the poorest area of Russia, the poorest region in that area, and then the poorest town in that region. And he was just kind of walking around the town being like, oh, look, this is the poorest cemetery in Russia. This is the poorest this and that in Russia. And it was like the overwhelming going to every single thing being like, oh, this is the poorest whatever in Russia. And then being like, oh, look, a cute girl. She's the poorest cute girl in Russia. And just like everything, like, oh, look, there's a tank. And there's, oh, some women on the other side of the tank. There must be prostitutes, you know, in the poorest town in Russia. And like, so it was a very condescending video, I found. It was, he would go into these shops and see what they had and be like, oh, you can get a random pair of shoes, you can get some cooking oil, and he's just like listing, you know, these, you know, cheap things, and being like, oh, this is the poorest shop in Russia, and just like going in and exploring these shops, not buying anything, and then just see ya, and just telling people he wanted, I think even some people, like he said, oh, I just wanted to see the poorest town in Russia, or something along those lines. But one key thing is that he says these things, he's a very good Russian speaker, but says these things in English. So he'll be like, destroy look at this is the poorest woman in Russia, let's strike the idea. And just going back and forth, just like in front of these people's faces. Another time was the Burmese cold noodles video, where he was talking about how terrible these noodles were. He might have even, in the comment section, people were talking about him pouring hand soup, like, I mean, that's not soup, finger soap into his cold noodles, and also his like not knowing how to like eat the meal and like use the utensils. But really, you're not allowed, I mean, you're allowed to not like things. That's totally cool. That's totally fine to not like things, especially brand new things. However, like, he didn't like it. Cool. And he was talking to the exploring with his camera, showing, he's like, oh, I want to show you guys all the kitchen, I want to show you all the people. And so he's going around like this entire restaurant. He's now like with the chef, asking him how he makes the noodles, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go now. It was really quite delicious. Well, I guess that was a lie. It was not that good. And then like walked out, and then would, you know, say bye in their language. And so it was just like, oh, to this guy's face, like, this guy, I don't know, and they're like the 20-cent noodles, I guess, like, and that was the title in the video. And so it's just kind of, you don't have to shit on it. And then the third thing was the top things I don't like about India. Now, I have never been to India. I don't have experience in India. I'm not necessarily here to debate the accuracy of the points that he made, because a lot of the points, you know, like, seemed like things that just were bad, like getting spit on, because it's common for people to spit, the littering, lots of scamming. You know, these are things that I think a lot of people have heard about India, but that's not necessarily the part of the video that I found problematic, but was more, he was being rowed by some local guy, just rowing him around on the Ganges, and he's sitting talking to the camera about all the things he doesn't like about this guy's country. I don't know. To me, it just seemed a little, especially particularly being an Englishman sitting in front of an Indian man who's doing the work for you, and telling him how, they're not telling him, but talking about how the place he comes from is so terrible. So I found those things a bit problematic. Let me know what you guys think. I'm also kind of conflicted, because I'm also a fan of seeing what these places look like. But I'll see you guys in the next one.